Welcome to Los Compas Lounge, a PSA for brown men.
We are your hosts. This is Raul.
This Javier.
My name is Reuven, and this is a podcast about brown men talking about issues that matter to you. We talk about things that we don't usually talk about in the brown communities. We're just three regular compas sharing our experiences to inspire positive change. Compa, pull up a seat. We have one ready for you. You know, one thing that the three of us were talking the other day was things that we put on the board. What we wanted to accomplish this year. And we started thinking about goals, man, and what exactly are goals, and how do you achieve them, and then we started asking, maybe not everyone knows what a goal is, we're kicking back in the lounge and we say, hey, man, this sounds like a topic, and so that's what we're going to be talking about today is our 2020 goals. So, compas.
Yeah. Sounds like a good topic to get into. Well, for me, I like to think about a goal as an idea of a future result. Sometimes you put a vision out there. You want to see what your preferred self would look like, or preferred result would look like. And that was the best way that I learned about goals. And believe it or not, I didn't know what a goal and objectives and how to define that. Not until like high school, man. Into college. In high school, it just didn't click. But it was a big eye opener for me in college, and I had to catch up, right? I had to think about this. Okay, I had to start writing down stuff and breaking it down. So a goal is, for example, an idea or a future, something you want to get. Like if you want to buy a new car, or say you want to lose weight, right? So you say, that's my goal. I want to lose weight in 2020, for example. So if you look at that and you break it down further, those would be your objectives. So one of your objectives is to figure out what your exercise routine is going to look like. Have a plan for that. Another objective can be, how do you cut back on carbs? A third objective is, I want to lose 5 pounds week 1. I want to lose 10 pounds week 2. I want to have these different milestones. So that's the kind of example that I always like to use is the big goal and then the little steps, and then you just do it.
Like you just, as you were saying, you just triggered or you just said like a word that I was gonna say, that about milestones, that when you have a goal, you have to set out like a path, and it's good. It's nice. Sometimes you have to have realistic. You have to have realistic goals, but it's good to dream too. But those are two different things,
Yeah. It could be positive and negative, because I always hear my wife sometimes like, there's nothing wrong with dreams. You have to shoot for the stars sometimes, or have these beautiful
follow your
dreams.
dreams.
Follow your dreams, and it's beautiful to dream, to have nice things or whatever it may be, and then figure out, backtrack, work yourself.
Yeah, kind backwards. Like when sometimes when you were a little kid and somebody handed you a maze and you're here's the start, here's the end. A lot of times it was easier to start at the end and work your way back. I don't know if you remember playing with mazes.
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
Yeah,
But not exactly as little kids, right? This visualizing stuff is very important, and we shouldn't squash our kids' dreams, right? Have these really big dreams, and then as you get older, or if you're able to break down those dreams, then you have to break it down to, like, what's the reality? What realistically can you do? Is this a far-fetched dream that you want to be the best piano player, but yet you don't want to put in the time to learn piano? Then hey, come on, then that's just a false dream. Or Ruben, what do you call those kind of dreams?
Well, I'm just going on dreams. I think dreams are great, man. And I think as we get older, we lose the magic of dreaming big, man, and we get complacent. And we, 10, 15, 20 years down the road, you're like, man, I'm still working here. What happened to my dreams, my aspirations of what I was going to be, and we get caught up in the day-to-day stuff, and before you know it, 1 year, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years have gone down, and what has have gone by, and what happened to your dreams. So I think it's very important that we we hold on to our dreams, because when I think of dream, I literally think of a dream is when you're sleeping, you have dreams, and dreams are also inspirations, man, because I know we've all gotten them where we dream something, and then the next day we're like, wow, that was a really good idea. That's what a dream in part is an idea. It's an inspiration. Now, what's the difference between a dream and a goal? Is, you alluded to it, Raul, is one, acknowledging that you have a purpose. There has to be a purpose for your goal. The next thing is creating steps to get to that goal. And Javi hit it right on the dot. I think where people get it wrong is they say, what's the first thing I need to do? For the way I look at it, with my businesses and my professional career, is no, 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 no. What's the end goal? You start with the end goal in mind, and then, like you said, you backtrack. You create the steps to get there. And that's the difference for me between a dream and a goal. A dream is wonderful. It's your inspiration. And there's some dreams that are just meant to be dreams, and that's totally cool, man. But there's some dreams that there's enough passion inside you that you want to make it a reality, and that's where a goal comes into play. A goal is something that, and anything is obtainable. That's the way I look at it. Anything is attainable, but you have to put the hard work and the smart work into it, and that begins with creating steps on how to achieve your goal. And your goal doesn't have to be achieved like that. Sometimes it might take a long time, just like, we all have a mutual friend who loves to purchase used vehicles, and he has a vision already. He sees like this old messed up truck and this old messed up car, but he has a vision, and he knows what he needs to do, because his vision is really a goal to make this old beat up car into a really cherry bomb ass, firme, Ramfla, and he does it. Sometimes it might take him a little longer to do it, but he does it because that's his passion.
Sometimes people don't even realize how much work goes behind such like hobbies like this, like what you're saying right here. That's like his hobby, and that's like a goal. Like you say, he sees the end point. It's like, it's funny because like I didn't really even take all those things into consideration, like as you were saying.
So, Javi, what is your definition of a goal?
Well, you know what? Well, as I was mentioning, that the goal, it has to have like a path. It has to have like, you have to not just say, oh, I want to buy I want to buy a Lamborghini. I mean that's like a dream maybe. So okay, so let's say I want to buy a Tesla or something like that. Let's just say that. I mean, you cannot just say.
Why not a Gremlin or a Pinto, dude?
You see like Jeff Bezos, he may be rich and has all the money in the world, but there's still something he cannot buy: a dinosaur.
Hey, there's a dinosaur down in Arizona.
Yeah, I got that line from The Simpsons. There was somebody that won the lottery, and Homer's all like, "Yeah, he may be rich, but there's still something he cannot buy: March is like, what's that, Homer? He's like, a dinosaur.
But one thing I do want to mention is the power of dreams, the power of vision, and creating a statement that's a goal,
Yeah,
right?
you
It
know,
has to
Yeah,
and
be
one
a
vision
thing,
statement.
statement.
Yeah, yeah,
one
vision
thing,
statement. Yeah.
not like Raul, like when you were saying about that you didn't even learn about goal tracking it until you got into college. Like I remember one time, I don't even know who, some lady at work or something, just gave me like an old daily planner, or not even an old one. Actually, it was an upcoming from where I used to work. Hey, Javier, do you want one of these? I guess like a vendor gave her a bunch of them or something like that. And so I was like in my early 20s or something like that. She gave me a daily planner. It was a desk calendar, and even like a to-do list, checklist. I mean, it was like cool. It was something like real professional. And I started using it, and it got me right on track. But then later on, I don't know, I just, I
Threw
was,
it out the window.
yeah. And then I went through a phase where, okay, so I went through a phase where this was like my philosophy. I got so unorganized that I was all like, I used to live at the spur of the moment, and so it's like I used to say, the more things you plan, the more things could go wrong, because I used to like just go, hey, let's go here, but where we're gonna stay, we're gonna do this, we're gonna go, let's just go, we'll figure it out. Like, oh, I'm the type of person that I need to have an itinerary. I need to know. I go, look, the more things you plan out, the more things could go wrong. You know what? If we just go at the spur of the moment, we have no plans, nothing could go wrong because we had no plans. We just...
But this was in your 20s, Kendall.
yeah, that's what I'm
Yeah.
saying.
Which is good.
Yeah.
And I appreciate that, because what I was gonna say earlier, what I want to say is, Javi, is like, that's awesome, because now we're trying to encourage that shift, right? We're in our
Yeah.
20s, we're moving to our 30s. We want to be more responsible,
Yeah.
and what I want to say is, goals shape your behavior, right? However, you have to change your actions. You have to say, oh, shoot, now I need to actually do things and change my perspective and take these little steps and embody a new way of thinking and a new way of behaving. That's one of the big problems we have in our brown community, where people don't want to change. They think that okay, high school was fun and I had a blast, and that mentality sticks around. And I'm not necessarily judging, but I'm saying that if you want to grow as an individual, you have to be able to look at goals in a way that will enhance your life in terms of reaching new levels of development, because implied in that means that you're changing your behavior, you're changing your ways. In other words, you're going to spend less time on beer, less time on partying, and you're to be serious about creating that vision into a goal and those goals into objectives, and behaving in a certain way that's going to get you closer to that goal. Because if you want to buy a house and you're 30 years old and you're still up partying it up, being irresponsible, then you're not going to buy the house that way. You're going to have to grow some responsibility, and by doing that, it's the behavior.
You know what? And I actually, so Raul, I think actually before even all that, um, everything begins with habits, because your habits, I feel, shape your behavior.
Yeah, they're like this,
So I mean, it's like
intertwined.
those daily habits. It's like you know, um, like every morning I make the bed. I don't need to make the bed, but I make the bed. Because for me, it's like if I didn't do anything today, at least I made the bed. And that, like I said, for me, sort of precedes everything that you said, but it goes right in line with it. Because your habits form your behavior forms the way your worldview on things, basically. Um, and somewhere along the line, like you said, there has to be a shift in how you view yourself and how you view life, and um,
The relationship you have with life, you and the bigger picture, your family, whatever it may be.
Yeah.
Yeah,
All
yeah, because,
relationship. It's all relational.
yeah, because I mean, there's comes a point in time where in your life where living day by day isn't gonna cut it because you're not gonna be 25 for the rest of your life, and before you know it, boom, you're 35, and like, wow, where are you? What have you done? And then before you know it, boom, you're 45, and that's when starts getting scary because that's when you're like,
Your fear.
shit, man,
Fear is
I
real.
didn't know I was gonna get here, and now I'm here, and
Yeah. Now
55 is
what?
just down the road, and 65, man, you know what? I'm already feeling the aches and pains of life. Can I make it to 65 to retire? And I think that's where this goal setting really comes into play. Like for me, I have a I have a morning ritual. I do it most mornings, and I don't do it every morning, but every morning I'm up by around 5:30 in the morning. Um, I come to my office. Uh, I I review my vision board. I meditate. I write in my journal, and I look at my goals, and then I do my daily planning. And my daily planning is connected to my weekly plan, and my weekly plan is connected to my monthly plan, and my monthly plan or goals is connected to my quarterly goals, and my quarterly goals is connected to my annual goals because everything is connected. And not to say that, you know, I slip every now and then, because I do, I don't work out every day like I should. Part of it is because, just things happen in life, but that's okay as long as I'm keeping steady, as long as I'm doing those steps to achieve my goals. Um, I'm good, and I think, and Javi alluded to it, one of your coworkers back in the days, gave you that journal or that daily planner, and did it work for you while you were using it, and
Yeah. You
and
know
like
what?
have you used something to that extent? I mean, now that you're older, do you do
Yeah. You know, it's funny, Ruben, that because that one was like let's say it was, I don't know, for your 95. I'm just throwing a number out there because it was in the 90s or something like that. And then after that, the next year, I happened to get like, it was like, because it was like a package. Because back then it's like everything was manual, you know? And so then the next year, I ended up getting for like 96. And then I think after that, I think that's when we went on our road trip in 97 or something like that. And I didn't get one for that year or something. And then when I stopped getting, I think that's when I started like deviating. Cause I remember I would balance, like when you're talking about rituals, as soon as I got into work, I remember I would like check my bank account, like because everything was done manually. The ledger, my ledger, I call him, make sure that my balance is the same, whatever's cleared. I marked the X's. Oh, this one cleared, this one cleared. When she gave me that, like for those, like I was like on top of everything, and then after that, I lost focus for a while or whatever, but now with this whole electronics thing and everything, I mean, it's like I put like everything on my calendars and everything, and like now, like when people like, oh, could we do it? I go, you know what, I hate to sound like dumb, like on the movies or where, oh, I have to check my calendar. But yeah, a lot of times I do have to check my calendar.
Bien
Nah,
chingón.
dude, but you know what? It's the same with me. I mean, like, and you guys can ask my wife, and she will say,
No
"Yeah,
mames.
that's the way he is." I mean, it's like literally, if it's not on the calendar,
It
it's
don't
not
exist.
happening, man. I mean, I literally have like a 2 year calendar, and I plug in, like, this, our important days, or like, the vacation days, or where the literally like the I call it garage weekend where we clean out the garage, and all kinds of things, and I remember we were gonna, my wife was like, oh, we're gonna go to so and so's house and hang out, and I'm like, it's wait, it's not on any of the calendars, let me double check. And she just gave me the look like, all wives give, and I'm just like,
Oh,
okay. Mandilon. Okay.
Mandilon. You're like,
But
let me
you know,
let me turn off
but
my
it,
computer. Okay, maybe let's go.
but it's funny though. Raul. Like I was a lot like Javi in our probably because we hung out a lot. In our 20s. I mean, I had some sense of goals and everything, but I mean, literally, we were just living off the seat of our pants. What? Let's go to Mexico. Okay, let's go.
The
Or
spur of the moment.
yeah, let's go this and let's do that. And it was fine and dandy at that time because we
Yeah.
didn't really have
We
any
had no
responsibilities. Yeah, yeah, and and we had a lot of free time. And
Yeah.
that was basically living life.
Yeah.
As we chose, and so I'll throw the same question out to you, Raul. Do you have like a daily ritual, or do you have like a how do you set up your like your goals and everything?
I'll be honest with you. I goals and setting goals and objectives has been life changing, which is good. Like it should be. I have stuff written down or on the Google calendars, my own personal calendars, but I don't have a wall. We have a little dry erase board downstairs, and we put little things there, and that's like our monthly thing, right? So we do have a calendar. It's a shared calendar, but for the most part, the wife, for the most part, my wife and I um, talk about stuff a lot. We're able to communicate um, very honestly and openly, and we look at, okay, every beginning of the year, okay, so what are some goals that we want to set, right? What are we going to achieve this year? And then we have some wiggle room throughout the year. Like if something comes up, we have to make adjustment. Okay, so if we're not going to, for example, spend money on a computer because I have a new goal, then we want to see, well, is it attainable? Is it, can we actually do it? Can we afford it? Do we have the time and energy to do it? Do we have the wife's support? Do you have the husband's support? Whatever it may be, and then we go with it. So on that sense, we write it down, but I'm going to steal your idea. In my office, I want to get, a whiteboard or something and have those goals so they're there, more visualized, because I always talk about making it real, right? You have to visualize it, and then we can start looking at it and remember to do it. I'm a big proponent of write it down, break it down, right? We always talk about that. So I do write them down. I have notepads, and they're there, but it's a notepad. My notepads, I have a lot of notepads. But in talking to you and hearing you both, I'm like, I think I need to do a better job at posting them up, make them more visual.
And also, like you say, you have a lot of notepads or whatever, but you could start numbering them. Like I have a bunch of, they're just composition books. But then right there, I see right there, but I mean, I have like archived. It's there, like 2000. It'll say like, or like from this month of this year through this month of, and so whenever I go, especially when I was doing independent consulting, that I would go visit clients. So then after that, I would just start writing down, and it just, I mean, like you also, what we do in my house also, we have this calendar that's right in the kitchen.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
and that's like when Ruben says, it wasn't on my calendar. Well, and over here, that's the master calendar right there, and so like that. And so like if there's like an event that it's important for me, like let's say, like for example, when it was my parents' anniversary, so I put it right there. So this is, we're going to do this. If it's one of my nieces, quinceañera or something, and vice versa. And those are like days that, or that we know we have to, clear up for the other person.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But to answer the question, I guess it's I can work on that, Ruben, in terms of a daily routine, because as you all know, all my day, starting from the morning through 7:30, 8 o'clock, is pretty much consumed with two little kids.
Well, I mean, and I think that is a routine right there. I mean,
so that's the
you probably
routine.
don't even necessarily look at it as routine.
Exactly.
But
but the details of that routine, for our purposes, it's more, it's parenting stuff, right? But for the purposes of this episode, so for example, in 2020. there were at least a couple of goals, family goals that we said we want to accomplish, right? One was refinancing our home, checked, right? 2020. Two, um, actually in 2019 was getting solar power, which we did. 2020 was refinancing the home, right? So it was those kinds of big goals that took a big chunk of money. And then now so 2020 is, good, but I threw in a small personal goal for myself that, as we all know, we're going in here in our society in the United States. We're going through a really major wake up call in terms of race relations, right? In terms of diversity, inclusion, what it means to be American, and what it means to be white, black, brown, whatever color you may be, and that how that translates into how that really fleshes out, or how that it plays itself out in the workplace, because that's my strength. I'm in human resources. So my goal that I've accomplished was I wanted to increase my knowledge, skills, and abilities in diversity and inclusion. And I went to the extent of I want to get a certification in diversity and inclusion. So what that meant for me is we had to figure out money wise. I had to have a conversation with my wife and figure out, okay, I want to do this. She was on board. Now we figured out, okay, can we find, is our budget, can we move things around, or maybe move a different goal and postpone it, or make an adjustment and actually pay for a course for a certification? And we did. So I'm happy to say that that was a real great accomplishment for me, because I did the research. Yeah, I did the research, the different kind of programs out there. I was passionate and still passionate about this because I want to be of service to companies and organizations to help them navigate their own biases or diversity challenges, and how to support them in creating a workforce that's more diverse, more inclusive, and more engaged, right? Because I'm consulting. That's my profession. I stay home with the kids. We take care of that, but I'm also very blessed still to work remotely and still provide consulting services. So I accomplished one great goal, which was to be certified through Cornell University. And I finished a certificate program in diversity and inclusion. Yeah, and it took work, right? It took work. It took planning. I had to work at night. Scheduling, and I broke it down to objectives, and we paid for it, and it's great. It's a great accomplishment, and I just wanted to share. Not that I'm tooting my own horn, but rather that's an example of for me for 2020, that I actually had to do the research, had to talk with the wife, had to write it down, break it down, had to make sure this is going to work, and then actually execute and follow through. So my behavior, I had to be more disciplined, right? So even if I was sleepy and tired at night because I was working with my kids, or maybe a client, I was working on a lot of work on a Wednesday or Thursday, I had to stay up, man, or whatever it was, and go through my coursework. So that was part of how bad do I want it. And I was like, shit, I already paid for it. I want this really bad. I'm not going to screw up. And for 6 weeks, I went through this certificate program. And it feels really good, It feels good to accomplish that goal. So that's one of the examples that I wanted to share with you guys.
That's good. That's good, Raul. Congratulations.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
And now a brown and proud PSA. We encourage you to learn more about setting SMART goals. S is for specific, M is for measurable, A is for achievable, R is for relevant, T is for time bound. We'd be honored to have you as a compa. Please subscribe to our podcast on your favorite listening app.
few years ago, I said like, I just want to pay off like all those debts, credit card debt and everything, and I actually accomplished that this year,
Congratulations. It feels good. Huh? It feels good to be
Yeah,
debt free, huh? It's like this
Mm-hmm.
whole weight is
Yeah.
yeah,
like off your shoulder, dude.
yeah.
So going back, to uh, goals. So I got, so like every year around November, I reflect back on the year and I look at what I was able to accomplish, what I was not able to accomplish, and I ask the questions why and whatnot and everything, and then I start to formulate my goals for the next year. And like I said, it's a elongated process, but in order to get to the final end product, I began with the end product. So I began with December 31st, 2020. Back in 2019, and as I said, it's the annual goal. There's a quarterly goal. There's a monthly goal. There's a weekly goal, and there's a daily goal, and it's all connected. And for me, I always have my big three goals, because anything more than that is pretty hard to obtain, and then you just get scattered and you don't accomplish anything. So I always have three big goals for this year, and I'm reading it off because I actually have it, taped right here to my wall. So every morning when I do my morning routine, that's one thing that is in my morning routine is to look at my big three goals for 2020, and I break it down into a quarterly, and then right next to it I have my weekly planner. So right here, the big three goals, um, uh, autumn winter 2020. One, get back into shape, get healthy. And this is an annual goal, really, but I'm breaking down accordingly. And I have steps. So, A, set up a schedule. B, physical therapy for ankles 7 days a week. C, gym 3 days a week. D, walk Choco 3 days a week. Choco's my dog. E, hike 1 day a week. F, weigh in once a week so I can get on the scale and see where I'm at. Because you need measurements,
Yeah.
Yeah,
yeah,
and it's like, yeah.
and then G, work on goal until fully finished. And then I have my second goal, which is I'm not going to get into all of them, but basically, second goal is work on online store. Number one. Uh, Number three is work on online store. Number two, and then I have a fourth one. Like I said, I only have three, but there's a fourth one, and it's called passion projects. You know, and one of the they're basically different types of stores, and the one that I'm most proud of is Passion Projects D. It says Los Compas Lounge. Because that was not on the original goals. It wasn't until, like we mentioned in other podcasts, we were just talking about
When
it,
the
just
pandemic started.
yeah,
The pandemic,
pandemic started. We were talking the shit like we always do, and then we just say,
it
hey,
became
let's
a
just
goal.
go ahead and do it, and
Yeah, and it's funny because we all that's it happened like right at the right moment for all of us because we're both at the moment that we're in like we've wasted too much time. Like now we're like I think we're all like in the same phase now that like what, let's just do it. Like let's just
Yeah.
start just start doing it.
yeah,
I mean, it's funny, Ruben, because when you said about the goals, about the breaking them down from annually to monthly to weekly to daily, so it reminds me because well, a goal that I did and I'm pretty much accomplishing it is 100 miles to walk 100 miles a month. And so then I go, okay, I'm going to walk 100 miles a month. I go, okay, so then if I break that down every week, it's 25. So I go, okay, that's 25 miles a week, and I break that down to days. I go, okay, if it's 3.57, it's 3.58 miles because 3.58 3.57 times 7 is 24.99. And that's not 25 miles, which my goal is 25. So then that's when it's okay. My daily minimum, I have to walk minimum 3.58 miles a day, you know, and then sometimes I do, like, let's say for whatever reason I can, then I say, okay, now I'm going to make sure that I do at least 25 by week. Because when I first started my goal, I would lose track because I would go like for a whole week and I'd go, oh man, I have 3 days left. And I'd be all like running like so much. And so I go, no, you know what? Let me break it down by week. And then now like by day. And it works out so much better when you just break it down and
Mm-hmm.
just try to meet your goal every single day.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah. And that's the thing is like breaking it down into uh, biteable
doable.
chunks. You
Yeah.
know, like here's another real life example. It's not me. It's my daughter. Um, she knows that I have my online businesses. And I asked her. I told her a couple years ago, hey, if you want, I can teach you how to do this stuff. You know, and you can earn some of those side money. This and this and that. But she never really got around to it. Um, but earlier this month, without, really telling her mom or I, she started doing it, man. And it was funny because we just finished recording one of our podcasts. And luckily, we finished recording one of our podcasts. And then I heard her scream, ah! I'm like, what the hell? I go out there. And, I said, whoa, what's up? What happened? Are you okay? He's like, I made my first sale. And dude, I was like so proud, man, and afterwards I told her that feeling that you had, keep that, because when the tough when it gets tough, and it's going to get tougher, and you're going to want to quit or you're not going to want to do it, remember that feeling that you just finished having, because that is what's going to drive you. And I think that's something that we didn't mention directly, but it's not the how, it's the why. The how are the steps. That's the easy thing. But it's the why. What is your motivation, to get you to that goal, and I'm glad that you just mentioned your your uh, walking goals, Javi, because that reminded me of my daughter, and I spoke to her afterwards, like a week or two ago, or actually last week, and I told her, look, this is my suggestion on how you look at things. Let's say you want to get $1,000 a month from this new business of yours. I know $1,000 seems like a lot, but let's break it down into steps. Your widgets, let's say your widget costs $25. Now, how many widgets do you need to sell per month to get 1,000? And this is where I'm going to need Javi, because I'm bad at math. So 1,000. So let's say for
so if it's 1,000, it's pretty much the same breakdown that I did, which is 1,000, except you add a zero. So that would be 250 a week.
All right. So I told her, so yeah, so it's like, so you have to sell 250 a week. Now I know that sounds like a lot too, but now let's break it down, for like 5 days.
Yeah.
Javi,
So
what's 5 into
that would be $35.80.
Exactly. I told her, see, you can do it. You just have to break it down into biteable, just something that is obtainable. It's $1,000 seems like a lot, but if you do it by a week, you only have to sell X amount of widgets. If you do it, by a day, you only have to sell that amount of widgets. So it's obtainable, and you can do it. But once again, it's like what we're talking about. It's just like, get your goals down, have your systems down, and sell one widget a day, or 2 widgets a day, and you can do it. Then I said, you see, and that $1,000, think of the $1,000 as paying off your car. Let's say you have $5,000 left to pay on your car. How many months is it going to take you if you make $1,000 a month to pay off that car, it's going to take you 5 months. And that might seem like a long time, but you know what? In 5 months, your car will be paid off clear and free. And that's one less debt you have to pay a month. And now you can use that $1,000 to pay off another debt if you have another debt, or you can use that to put into a savings account or into a money market account, or or whatever you want. And then once you get your systems packing down for this one store, then you open up another store. And because you already have it set down how to do everything, the second store is going to be that much more easier. So you don't have to think about $1,000. You can think about $2,000 or $5,000, and you know it's obtainable. And that all happened because, one, you had a dream. Two, you made that dream into a goal. Three, you had a passion to do it. Four, you learned how to do it. You made your steps down. You have your systems down. And five, you're doing it. And I think that our gente, they don't have that yet. I'm generalizing, but I don't believe that folks think that they can obtain things, whether it's something as big as, like, Raul, you and your wife setting a goal to buy a house. They're like, wow, a house, $500,000 for a house. How am I going to get $500,000 for a house? Well, you sit down with your partner, you think it out, you become honest with them, and you lay down your plan, and you stick to that plan, and you have to be patient with it, and maybe within a year or two, you save up enough money. You don't need $500,000. You need 25% of $500,000. And once again, I'm not a mathematician, but Javi is. So, Javi, what's 25% of $500,000? Let's just say it's $75,000 or something like that, or is that 50,000 something like that, Javi? Or
So five times five is 25. Yeah.
Yeah, $25,000 to buy a $500,000 house. It could be done. You just have to save it. Maybe that means, like we were talking about earlier, hey, maybe we're not going to party out as much, but we're going to save that money that we're using to party and set it to the side. We're going to go to Costco and we're going to get a, case of beer, or those 30 packs of beer, and we're just going to chill at home and have our little tortillas at home instead of going out to the clubs or whatever. And we're going to save money because in 2 years, we'll have the $25,000 to be able to put down a down payment for that $500,000 home. And bam, it's obtainable. But I don't think compas, that especially our younger companitos out there understand that.
Well, I think it's
what it is to have goals.
I think it's a good way to segue to jump into, like, what's worked, what hasn't worked. I think for a lot of people, we either know what a goal and objectives are and we run with it, or we hear about it, but for a lot of people, we don't know, right? Because it's not taught to us, and our parents don't know, especially your first generation immigrants or second
And
generation.
you're definitely not learning this at school.
Yeah, exactly. Or if you are, well, from us, right? We went to school, public school in East LA for the most part, right? So you know how that was, right? And like I said, I'm sure somebody talked about it. I just was probably ditching, I'll be honest with you, or I didn't even care. But we're in that environment and in that background, and then there's a switch in our head that we all go through, right? And then we're figuring out, okay, goals and objectives, and this is where we're at today, right? Where we know what goals and objectives are. We know what's worked for us in the past, and we know what hasn't worked for us. So to kind of finish things off, what's worked for you? What hasn't worked for you? What can we leave our compas with? What advice? What's worked? What hasn't worked?
For me, it's writing down. I mean, for me, I I know everybody likes to type, but I'm a like a for me. This is like I said for me where it works. I'm a notebook person. I like to like write. Because sometimes as I'm writing it down, it like it solidifies like what it's like it enforces what I'm saying. So that goes along with keeping track of your progress. Like log your progress and make like break it down to daily goals. I actually I would always break it down to weekly goals, and I would always use Sundays as my administration day. That's my day when I have to make sure that all my invoices that I need to go out. Just making sure that you stay on track, and long intervals before checking in, that doesn't work. It's like check in with yourself like daily. It's like daily, like break it down to the like I mean, I don't know if even maybe Ruben's gonna start breaking it down to the hour or something, but
Actually,
Certainly, what doesn't work is not writing it down. You have to write it down, break it down. You have to write this stuff down, visualize it, like Javi visualizes it in his notebooks or on your computer, wherever you do it. You have to put it on a whiteboard. You have to put it there as a constant reminder for accountability. Write it down, break it down, and this whole thing of having a cheerleader, a support, whether it's your partner, whoever it may be, wife, husband, that's important. Communication, because you can be super motivated and then come across as selfish, and that's can be detrimental to the relationship.
yeah, you know what, man? It's like just like sometimes just even just hearing like my wife tell me like, oh man, like when we would, like I said that my goal was that this year was that I paid off all my credit card bills. And so whenever I finish paying one or whatever, and then just hear like my wife like, oh man, that's good, like another one like boom or something like that. Sometimes I'm thinking like, oh, I don't know if I feel like walking today. And she's like, oh, I put your running clothes right there. And it's just like on her mind. Like she just said it. She probably telepathically felt me saying, oh, I don't feel like going today. And right when I said that, oh, your running clothes is right there. And it's just like, oh.
yeah, because she's invested in your goals. She's invested in seeing you get healthy. And I think that, yeah, man, that's a huge part in us compas being able to achieve our goals. And I guess a question that's on my mind is, what more can I do for my wife? We're talking about our individual goals, but maybe how can we also help out our partner's goals? Because because their gains are our gains, just like our gains are their gains. And one thing I forgot to mention is we have to reward ourselves when we reach something, you know. And for me, when I accomplish a goal, I'm not into like stuff. I'm into experiences, So what we do is when we accomplish a goal, whether it's my wife or I, we go out. We plan, because I'm the master of planners. We plan a little weekend trip, a little road trip. All is hard work, and you don't get to enjoy it. And I think that's something really important.
Yeah, you know what? That's funny because you say it. Because also, like sometimes, like when I'm going through like a crunch time with my kids, like, and I go, you know what? I'm sorry. It's like I can't play. I am on a deadline and stuff like that. And then after that, when I get paid, I say, you know what, guys? Look, remember all the time. So like we'll go eat anywhere they want to go, get like milkshakes, whatever they
Whatever.
want, or like
I do the same thing.
yeah, because sometimes like I'm in a crunch and I'm
Happy
like,
meals.
hey, Could we
Oh, the
go
happy
do this?
meals.
Could we do that? I go, you know, like, and also I go, you know what, guys? I'm gonna be in a meeting. Everybody, be quiet. I tell them, you don't fight, please. And then after
Yeah.
when I'm in a meeting, okay, I'm done. You guys can fight now.
WrestleMania, lucha libre.
But you know what, compas? This is a good topic for us, man, to share our wisdom. So hopefully you gain something of interest and of value. And remember, write it down. This is, get your goals down and get your support circle, whether it's your friends or your partners, but, we're all in it together, man. So lots of love, support, and respect out there.
If you like what you heard, go ahead and subscribe to our podcast and give us a 5-star review. It really means a lot and would really help out this podcast.
We invite you to visit us at loscompaslounge.com to share your ideas and suggest topics for future episodes.
Until next time, compas, be proud and be brown.
That's right. Be safe.
Till next time.